Hey, what's up, everybody? Today I wanted to go over something really cool with you guys. So something that was added into Niantic Studio recently was this little section right here. This is the first thing that you see whenever you create a new account and you jump into your projects. And this didn't exist very long ago. Like, it's a very, very new addition to Niantic Studio. And I kind of wanted to walk through this Hello World project with you to show you what it is and kind of what it teaches us. So let's jump into it. So now we are inside of the project. I just finished cloning it. We get this little thing that pops up and says, "Hello, welcome to Niantic Studio." Um, it's a very, very quick video, 5-minute guide, they say, and it will teach you how to navigate the Niantic Studio interface and create a project. So let's begin. So right here we have our assets. It wants us to drop our Earth asset into our scene. So we're going to drag and drop this Earth into our scene. Amazing. And now we hit next. It's teaching us how to move the asset around. We can play around with it. This green is the y-axis, this red is the x-axis, and this blue is the z-axis. So it does a good job to show us how to navigate and how to move our objects inside of Niantic Studio. It is also showing us how to increase the scale. So we can change these values right here. That'll increase the scale of the object. You can also hover over the X and do this, move back and forth. If you click, that'll increase the scale too. Does the same thing on Y and Z. Something that I don't know if it's going to say, if you actually click on this little button right here, this unlocks the asset so it's not proportionately scaling. But we can do this and scale just the X, just the Y, or just the Z. I'm going to undo that, or we can set them all back to 2. Let's just do that. That's probably a better idea. And then relock it because we want it to stay a sphere and we want it to stay proportional. Okay, next. Now we can add a new component. Let's see if it wants us to add anything specific. Oh, no, it doesn't say to add anything specific. It's just showing us that we can add new components. This is very helpful. If we want to add like a light or an animation or anything in there, we can do that with this new component button. It wants us to add in a rotation animation. So let's hit new component again and look for rotation, animation, bam, and then hit next. You can see it automatically adds this component onto our entity. If you're confused about entity and component, kind of that vocabulary, there's a section in the documentation that talks a little bit about it. I can also make a video that dives a little bit more into that subject, but just so you know, these over here are entities and these over here are components. Okay, it wants us to make a rotation from our y-axis of 1 to 360 degrees. So basically that's just going to rotate the object in a full circle. And then we want it to have shadows and display shadows. So we're going to hit this receive shadows thing. That just means anything can cast a shadow onto the sphere. And now it wants us to look at the moon. So we have this script file, which is a custom component it has right here. And that's going to be the orbit of the moon. So we're going to hit next. And we can add a custom component by hitting new component, going to custom components, and adding moon orbit. So next. We can edit variables and values inside of the custom component by changing these values right here. When you're making a custom component, you have to set it to do that. If we look at the component itself, that's done inside of this schema here. But we can change this to like 5, the distance between the Earth and the Moon, and we can change the duration of the rotation. In here, it wants us to change it to 20,000. 20,000. You can hit next. And then this is the actual camera that we're using to see the scene when we're playing the scene. It wants us to make it so we can see it in augmented reality. Let's see. So right now it's set to 3D only, and we need to change it to type world. So by let's see, it didn't allow us to click that, but you would click this type button. It's on 3D only right now. We have to change that to world. So at the end of the video, we'll make sure that we do that. We can hit build, and that prepares the scene so that we can now jump in and see those changes that we've made so far. We hit next, and then we press the play button, and that pulls up the simulator. So we can see in the simulator, we actually now have our planet, and we have the moon right here that is rotating around the planet. That's really, really cool. And that's being done because our Earth, GLB, has this custom component on it, and the component is adding the moon and making the moon rotate around the planet Earth. So we're now testing inside of the simulator. That's pretty cool. Now, one of the things that it didn't let us do in the tutorial that it wanted us to do was change this from 3D only to world. So we can build that. Oh, perfect. Now we get to do that. It popped us back into the tutorial now that we did that outside of the tutorial. So we can change the movement of this camera right here by doing walking, leaves, orbit, sky tilt. It changes to different types of simulations that we can have inside of our editor in our simulation window. We'll have to hit build to see any of those changes. And then we can hit land. That will update the code and integrate it into the source control. Basically just means it's like a save state. When we are saving in a video game is kind of how I like to think about it. When you're building, you're making progress in a save file, but until you hit land, it's not actually saving any of that progress. So land is how we are saving all of the progress that we've made in this tutorial. So really fast, let's look at some of these things. So if we wanted to build it now that we have the world camera, it'll actually change the way that we're seeing this. It's changing the camera type to an augmented reality camera, and we can see this planet inside of a scene somewhere in augmented reality. So here are different settings that we have. So we're looking at a sky pan right now. Let's change it so we're looking just at standing. We can see this scene. We're just kind of standing, and it's tethering itself to augmented reality. We can pick different scenes right here. So like, let's say we did City Park instead. It's going to change the scenery for us and put us inside of a city park. So now it looks like the world is being tracked to a city park, a little sidewalk in a park. All these simulations are pretty accurate. We can do moving as well. So now you can see it's still tethered to the ground in front of us, but we're moving around a lot more and it's staying tethered to the ground. So the simulator is very, very nice, and it does a lot of things for us so that we don't have to be constantly running the project on our mobile devices if we don't want to. But now it wants us to land the project, so let's land it really quickly. It wants us to add a description, so we can just say, let's just say we added Earth and the moon. Hit next. And then it allows us to publish our project. So publishing our project makes it publicly available to other people. When we publish a project, there are kind of two options. Let's see if it allows us to walk through the options. Okay, it doesn't right now. It just kind of tells us about this next page. So there are two options. One is to publicly publish it, and one is to publish it to staging. Staging lets us add a passcode. Anybody with the passcode can then jump in and see the project. Public means it's public to anybody. And then as soon as we publish a project, we have to create this page that allows people to see it on our profile page. So that would make it so anybody can hit our eighthwall.com/whatever your workspace is. Mine is WebXR. That'll take them to your public-facing workspace, and they can see the projects that you've published. So right now, we completed this Hello World tutorial. We're done. And then we can actually land the files. And I don't want to publish it right now. I don't want this to be on my workspace, but I do want to save all of the work that I've done. So we're going to land it. And that way in the future, if I leave this project and then come back, all of my changes are saved. But yeah, So that was a lot of fun. I think that tutorial is really good. I am glad that they added those in. I feel like it's very educational to have that type of a thing built in the studio, and I really hope that they add more. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this. I might make more videos walking through the other two tutorials that they had at the start. There was this Hello World one, and there was like a Hello VPS, and then a Hello augmented reality project or something like that. Or World Tracked, I think is what it was called. So if you guys would like me to in the future, I can make more videos about those two, kind of walk through that process and talk you through what it's wanting us to do. I know you can read it, but sometimes having a video is nice too, to kind of go along with it to show you like what's going on. Hopefully I did a good job of that. Hopefully I made sense, or it made sense to you what I was saying. But yeah, let me know if you liked this and if you want me to do more. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you.